I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love.
What's going on, everybody? It's your big homie, the armchair operator, and today we're going to do a first shots review of the venerable, or rather I should say custom Glock 21 Gen 4 chambered in what I like to call that fat boy round, 45 ACP. So let me just show it one more time. So as you can see, this is not a standard Glock 21 by any stretch of the imagination. So, but before we get into that, it's a little bit of a story time. So first, I got to give a shout out to the crew over at Bunker 2 for this gun. And basically what had happened was I was actually over there one day for a completely different issue. And as I was just standing there talking to the team, just kind of talking to the team back and forth about different things, I just happened to see something out of the corner of my eye. And I looked down at the display case and I saw the first thing that caught my eye was this stainless steel slider guide. And I saw it and I was like, let me take a look at that. So they pulled it out of the case. You know, I looked at it. I noticed how different it is, you know, from a standard Gen 4 Glock 21. And it was just like, I just had to have it. And it's funny because I actually, this may sound a little crazy, but it sounded like I had Obi. If y'all know Life with Obi, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, he definitely finds those rare guns, those crazy rare guns all the time. Shout out to Life with Obi. But anyway, it was like I heard his voice in my mind like, yo, you need to get that. So I got it. So that being said, I got it here to share with all of you. So without further ado, let's turn on over to the tabletop and take a look at this interesting beast. Okay, y'all, here we are at the tabletop talking about that Glock 21 Gen 4. As you can see, it comes in your standard Glock box that we all are familiar with. But we didn't come here to look at the box. We came here to look at the gun. So let's open this thing up right here and check it out. Here we go. The first thing we're going to do, y'all know what I like to do. I like to do a clear check. As you can see, that chamber is empty, right? Magazine is empty and this gun is clear. And as always, we are filming in a safe and controlled environment. So here we are. We have the Glock 21 Gen 4. And this thing actually came with quite a bit. So much so that it's actually kind of difficult to close the doggone box. You know, with all the back straps that you have here, there's one on the gun that I already have there already. But as you can see, like I said, it's not a stock Glock 21. So first thing is, when I bought the gun, this magazine well was already installed on the gun. This is a Carver custom aluminum mag well. So I took the magazine well off for a reason that I will actually get to in a bit when I talk more about the pistol. But just you know, let it be known, it does come with mag well. The mag well is actually nice. It is. I like it. It also helps to, you know, helps your grip a little bit too. But anyway, it comes with your standard 13 round 45 ACP magazines. You know, they're all Glock OEM, and of course you got the Glock mag loader that probably no one in the world uses, but hey, at least you got it in case you need it. This particular one has a Carver aluminum base plate on there already, and again, I will get to that when I talk more about the gun. I actually have a couple more aluminum base plates to swap all of these out if I so choose to, but I don't know if I'm going to do it since I took the magazine well off, but again, we'll get to that. But let's talk about the pistol. Let's talk about the pistol. And y'all know where I like to start. I like to start at the top, and for that, we got to go to the sights. So these sights, as you can see, are not standard Glock OEM sights. These are actually, these look like X-ray night, XS night sights. Because you got the orange front up there, you know, the front sight, you got the orange dot. I don't know if you can see that. And then you have the two dots in the rear. They're actually really good sights, much better than the Glock sights, and the tritium in them still glows in the dark. And let's come to the pink elephant in the room. This stainless steel slide. So after doing a little bit of research on this gun, and I come to find out that this was actually something, I believe it was a Davidson Custom Works or something like that, where it was available through a Davidson. I can't remember exactly the name, but it was an online retail and it was available exclusively through them. So this is basically a PVD coating, stainless steel PVD coating on the actual slide itself, and it looks really nice. Like, it really pops. Like, you could just tell, and I really like the stainless steel look. It kind of gives it a bit of a more sophisticated feel, in my opinion. But even with those guns didn't have the stuff that this particular gun has, because if you notice, like, the takedown lever, Glock takedown levers do not look like this. Like, even the takedown lever is aftermarket. The slide stop is aftermarket, and it's extended. We also have an extended aluminum magazine release. Now, of course, this is Gen 4, so you know it's not ambidextrous, just so you're all aware. And the barrel itself has a coating to it. So I don't know. This might be a PVD coating itself too. And this is a standard Glock OEM barrel. You could tell because all the serial numbers are on here and they're matching and so on and so forth. So I don't know if the previous owner coated the barrel itself or if this was coated from the factory or maybe the previous FFL. I don't know. I bought the gun used and this is what I got. So the rest of it is pretty much standard Glock flare. You know, it's a Gen 4, so you have the Gen 4 style checkering, and you have the finger grooves on the front, which I know a lot of people hate. I'm not the biggest fan of the finger grooves, but I don't hate them. Now, as far as the texture, I was never really a big fan of the Gen 3 textures. They just weren't grippy enough for me. The Generation 4 textures I do kind of like. Of course, I prefer the Gen 5 out of the 3. And we also have a backstrap that's installed. So I have the medium backstrap on here. Now, the thing about the Glock 21, especially the Gen 4, is the grip itself is a brick. And I already have large hands. So just with the medium backstrap, this is enough for me to get a decent length of pull from my trigger finger and a good solid purchase on the gun itself. Now, I typically run one with a B retail. Reason being, when I choke up high, especially when it comes to Glocks, I have a tendency at times to get caught by the slide a bit. So I can adjust my grip to not get caught by the slide, at least on a gun of this size. On a smaller gun, like say a 19, a 17, or a 34, or 35, or whatever, sooner or later it's going to catch me. And I just been rocking a B retail ever since they came out, just so I have that extra protection. But I do have the option of installing a B retail backstrap if I so choose. Now, one of the things that I did notice about the B retail backstraps is some of these were modified to accommodate that carbon aluminum mag well. As you can see, like that one here, I don't know if y'all can see that, but this looks like it's been dremeled or cut or something. The rest of these are normal, but that one has been modified. And if I remember correctly, this one was on the gun when I got it. But, you know, sometimes when you buy things secondhand, you know, it's like the saying goes, what you see is what you get. It may not necessarily be completely stock from the factory, you know, previous owners do whatever, but hey, right? So there we have that. So, and look, even the pin for the backstrap itself is aftermarket. That's not a standard Glock pin. That's not a polymer pin. That is, I believe that pin is made out of steel. So there you go. And of course, you got your standard Glock universal rail up there. You got your standard Glock trigger. Standard Glock Generation 4 trigger. I'll ghost that trigger for y'all right quick. That's your take up. That's your break. And your reset. There you go. Break. Reset. So I will say the Gen 4 triggers, at least to me, they have a shorter reset than the Gen 5, but the Gen 5 has a softer pull overall. So that's interesting. Like I said, it could just be me, but comparing that trigger to the Gen 5 pistols, like my 10 millimeter, my Glock 20, that pistol has a softer pull, but this one has a shorter, more crisper reset. So, hey, it is what it is. But, I mean, as far as that goes, as far as the features, I mean, that's pretty much, pretty much it is pretty standard Glock. And, yeah, that's pretty standard Glock. That's pretty much it. So let's talk about my experience with this gun on the range. All right, y'all. So on the range, here's where things get interesting. So first time out, I had it loaded up with, I believe, some cellular bellet, just some regular 230 grain full metal jacket. And at this particular point in time, I'm rocking the mag well on the grip, and I go to present and I break the first shot, and immediately I get a failure to feed. And unfortunately, that was a repeating pattern with this gun. Shot after shot, I would shoot, it would shoot again, the slide would sit back and it wouldn't feed the round. Shoot it a couple times, it might run a couple more, but then eventually that failure to feed would come right up. So my first time out, I was confused, like I was kind of disappointed, and I'm like, well, what the heck is going on? So I'm looking at it, I took it home, I broke it down, and I'm checking it out, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Is it the finish? Is it the finish on the slide, the barrel, what? So at first I said to myself, maybe the magazines weren't seating properly with the mag well installed. So that's the reason why I moved the magazine well, because with the regular polymer blaze piece, like the magazines will fit, but it was really tight, and it was also kind of hard to get out of the gun after I was done shooting. So I took the magazine well off, cleaned it, broke the gun down, cleaned it, lubed it with a little slip 2000 on the rails, just for a little bit of extra slippage, if you will. And I took it back out to the range again. And this time I think I was running a little bit of cellular billet, but I also had some Blazer brass, and I also ran some PNC bronze. And again, failure to feed. But one thing I did notice is that the failure to feeds did become less frequent as I continued to shoot the gun. And also too, one thing I will note, even though the gun was used, I did field strip it the first night I brought it home, and it did not look like it was shot hardly at all. So that led me to thinking that maybe the gun just needed to be broken in. Maybe it just needs a little bit of extra break-in period so that the gun will finally run. So I ran it for a little bit. It got a little better. It was weird because the first shot I would have a failure to feed, but then the rest of the magazines would run. Still kind of strange. So anyway, I took it back home, broke it down once again, but this time I ended up buying some 45 training rounds. And essentially what I did was I would just test the feeding of the gun. And whenever I manually chambered the round, it fed without a problem. So I just kept doing that and doing that and doing that just to check the functionality of the feeding. And all the magazines are stock. All the springs are good. And I also had the same issue with the extra magazine that I bought. And that magazine was brand new Glock OEM. So I don't want to hear jack squat about a bad magazine. All these magazines were fine. So I took it back to the range and I ran it again. But this time I didn't have any failures to feed, which is good. So I put 150 rounds through it again, with just a mixture of Blazer brass, cellular and bellet, and mostly PMC bronze. But I didn't have any issues, so that's good. Fingers crossed, no more issues with the gun. But I'm still going to continue to do some more testing. I don't have a lot of 45 ACP rounds available, but I'm going to keep vetting it out, over the months as I continue to take it to the range in between visits and the other things that I have to do. And maybe I'll do a 500 round follow-up down the road once I hit that point. And we'll just see where we're at. I think that since the gun is being shot and, you know, there's starting to be a little bit more wear on the underside, you know, where the barrel locks up with the slide, you know, underneath the slide and so on and so forth. I think that's really helping. So only time will tell. But even with all that, I still turned around and ordered an OEM Glock Gen 4, Glock21 Gen 4 recoil spring. And I also ordered another Gen 4 Glock21 barrel. So worst case scenario, if I have to swap the recoil spring and barrel, I can with OEM parts and I'll be good to go. But anyway, that pretty much brings us to the end of another one. Like I said, final thoughts. I'm still in testing. It's still ongoing. So hopefully, you know, I really want to like this gun. I really want to like this gun. I love 45 ACP. I know 10 mil is kind of the king, but I still love 45 ACP. My handgun journey started with 45 ACP, and I still love the round. I love the Fat Boy round. So anyway, we basically come to the end of another one. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by smashing that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and enable those bell notifications. Thanks to your support and your watching these videos, comment on these videos, and sharing these videos, this channel has grown a lot over the last 7 to 8 months. So I definitely appreciate every single one of you for helping me and coming with me on this journey. 2023 is almost over, but 2024 is on the horizon, and I got some good stuff for us in 2024. So you don't want to miss out. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to turn you loose. Thank you so much for watching. This is your big homie, and I'm out.